welcome to the town council work session, even though our agenda says regular.
I don't think lights on.
It says the green light's there. Can you hear me? Hello? The green light is on.
But the mic's not on.
The green light is on, but nobody's talking.
I used to teach. I can raise my voice. Okay. Do you want to fix it or you want to? All right, I'm still going to start. All right, welcome to the town council work session. Wednesday, November 2nd at 6 p.m., not 5:30, because we are going to correct that. And I thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. Is it working now?
Sounds like it.
Hello?
No,
I think it is. Hello?
That was me. I turned it off.
I don't want both of these. Hello? All right. This is a high-powered one. All right. Anyway, please silence your cell phones. We like to appreciate everybody's time and listen with clarity during the meeting. Roll call of members. All members are present with the exception of Mr. Williams, who has a work commitment. Additions to the agenda, I'm gonna motion to move the closed meeting portion of the agenda to the end after new business.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, approval of the agenda is amended.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful. Okay. Oh, the moment in silent implosion. That's the regular meeting.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm happy to do a moment of silence. In fact, I think we should anyway.
we usually do.
That's at the regular meeting, not at the work session. Okay. That was my moment of silence. We will save the pledge of allegiance for the regular meeting. Approval of the consent agenda. Minutes, all three minutes,
19th aren't done,
19th, right?
but the 17th and the 5th.
And I sent you one correction on the 5th. Okay. It's just a clerical note.
Okay,
It's a misspelling of one word.
okay. I'm sure.
Right. If you didn't get it, I'll get with you on Friday. That's it.
But, you want to consent.
We just want to do the 17th and the 5th. The resolution 4322 for the budget amendment and appropriation and the authorization of the town manager to enter into the agreement with the U.S. Department of Justice for the accreditation grant that was announced last month.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to abstain from the November 17th. I was not on council at that time.
Okay, do you approve the remainder of the consent?
I do.
Okay, thank you. All right, council member and liaison announcements. Dr. Salzala, I'm gonna start down there with you with the one page front and back, which is available.
It's in the lobby and it's
In the
also at
lobby.
the sign-up sheet, and it's been sent to everybody, so it'll be online too.
Okay, great.
So the Alliance of Colonial Beach Community Organizations had their meeting in October, and Mike Fitzpatrick, which, by the way, if you're not aware, Mike is in Belize, and the eye of Hurricane Lisa just passed over Belize City. But I did text with him today, and he feels pretty comfortable where he is.
Oh, good.
He and his wife are there. He introduced Community Heart and Soul, a resident-driven process that engages all citizens in identifying what they love most about their town, what future they want for their town, and how to achieve it. Judy Perosi, who's a community heart and soul coach, and her team will lead a sample program on November 14th. Space is limited to 30 participants, so right now we're working on a waiting list. If anybody else wants to join us, just let us know. You can contact Susan Mack or Kelly Evco or myself. We did have a great presentation from Kim McClellan, who's with the Fredericksburg Area Realtors. She informed us of some grant opportunities that the Fredericksburg Association of Realtors gives out. She said that our medium, that's supposed to be median, price is now at $300K for September, and that's up 5% from a year ago. Demand is leveling off, so we're seeing a few more listings on the market and a few longer days on the market. The stencils have been purchased to begin the street application of our Keep Colonial Beach Beautiful initiative. The Guadalupe Free Clinic is in the new location at the Food Lion Shopping Center. I stopped by there today. They're getting new flooring, but they are up and operational. They have, I think, 4 exam rooms and a real lab, and it just looks great in there. Because of the extra space, they do still need volunteers, medical personnel, financial screeners, and interpreters. And they continue to be open on Wednesdays and Saturdays from 9 to 2, and they will be taking some new patients. The rescue squad continues, as always, to recruit members, associate members, and support members. They participated in Town Hall on Town Hill and in Trunk or Treat. They had a lot of kids crawling in and out of that ambulance on Town Hill. The fire department wants to remind you to, when you change your clock back this weekend, make sure you change the batteries in your smoke detector to stay ahead of the game and don't get caught with dying batteries in your smoke detector. They hosted the awesome Trunk or Treat at the high school parking lot. Coming to the Table, which is a nonprofit working to create a just, equitable, and truthful society. Doesn't have any formal events planned for the rest of the year, but we will be helping to organize MLK Day of Service in January. WWER reminds you to send your public service announcements to psa@wwer.org. They continue to expand with new offerings, and they have volunteer needs in the area of a membership coordinator. They're looking for reporters to report the news and sports events. A volunteer coordinator. They're looking for people to host some shows. They need sound editors, production, promotion, technical assistance, and grant writers, and they will help train you. James Monroe's birthplace, Bucky Dorr, has retired, I am told, as chief docent, and a replacement has not yet been identified. Tom, are you going to take over the chief docent there? I know you are as passionate about the place as she is. Colonial Beach Community Foundation held their meetup at the Memorial House in October. The house was packed. There were presentations done by Bucky and by our police chief. They want to remind you that they will have a Christmas tide at Monroe Hall on December 17th from 5 to 8 p.m. Docents will be dressed in period garb and will greet guests and serve traditional wassail and sweetmeats. And they have planted 6 trees on the property. The village, the next game day is December 1st in the Meadows Activity Room, and the next luncheons will be on November 10th and then on December 8th. The Colonial Beach Community Foundation had again, they had the meetup at James Monroe's birthplace. Their next meetup is November the 17th at 6 p.m. at the Kobe Workspace, which was formerly our bank, and our Duke Dotson is going to be the guest speaker there. And the foundation welcomes aboard 2 new board members, Linda Brubaker and April Flimmer. BAM, the Chamber of Commerce and Colonial Beach Schools are hosting a career expo tonight. It starts at 7 p.m. and that may be where a lot of the people that we normally see here are. It's at the high school. It's got a focus on alternatives to the 4-year college track. They continue to support after-school activities. And they say they had lots of witches and pirates on at the town hall on Town Hill. The civic groups are listed there. The only one I actually have a little announcement about is that on Art Walk, which is also Veterans Day, the VFW post on Hawthorne is gonna be open to the public. So in addition to getting a drink and doing a sip and stroll and seeing the art, you can stop in and get something to eat there.
Are they participating in the?
They can,
Oh,
they don't have the right license.
oh, man.
Colonial Beach Green Space has ongoing fundraising projects, including the Walter Kern Memorial and Scholarship Program, the Community Garden, the Riverwalk, Osprey Cam, and Osprey Festival, which they co-host with the downtown Colonial Beach. And they want to remind you that Adopt a Park forms are online at the town website. And if you're interested in adopting a park and helping to pick up litter at the park, they very much would like to help you get through that process. The Humane Society has TNR'd over 70 cats so far this year. They report that Colonial Beach is considered under control when it comes to feral cats and kittens, but there are a few dropped in the area every month. And so we need to continue with our ongoing spay and neuter. They are also working with residents in Westmoreland Shores and Placid Bay to try to improve the situation outside of town, which is not anywhere near being under control like it is in town. Colonial Beach River Dogs has received donations to install 4 new pet waste stations in town, and they are waiting for the town's approval. Their proposed locations include one on Irving, 2 on Beach Avenue, and 1 along the bike golf cart path at an intersection with 7th or 9th Street. The museum is closed for the season, but the next Memories of Colonial Beach meetup will be in January at Hunan Diner as usual. The Artists Guild has their November 11th, Second Friday Art Walk with multiple venues, the first Dora Sip and Stroll event, and Veterans Day. And December 9th, the Art Walk will also have multiple venues, a Dora Sip and Stroll, and they're going to be carolers along the way. Downtown Colonial Beach announces that they are helping to organize the first Dora Sip and Stroll during the Art Walk on Veterans Day. They are submitting their application for Mobilizing Main Street, which provides the path forward to full Main Street membership. The next round of Selectives Historic Surveying was launched last Thursday in October, and will involve reconnaissance surveying from the public right-of-way of 120 properties on the point, marinas on the west side related to the waterman's industry, as well as other select properties in the numbered streets and elsewhere. And they are working on an in-depth survey that will be conducted at the First Baptist Church on Jackson Street. They're going after historic designation as a standalone building, I believe. They didn't get the community business lunch grant, but we'll try again next year. The Chamber of Commerce had a very successful fall festival and Halloween golf cart parade with 14 spooky carts. They will have the Santa's Winter Wonderland Parade and Festival on December 3rd. Membership renewals and applications are now available for 2023. And besides renewing your membership or joining, they encourage you to get your information to the Chamber for the 2023 events so that they can be included in the visitor's guide. The Economic Development Committee, again tonight, most of those folks are over at the high school doing the career night. They did have a booth or a table at Town Hall on Town Hill, and they are actively working on how to open a business in Colonial Beach with a flow chart. They are soliciting applications for a full training scholarship in IT cybersecurity, and the deadline for that is November 15th. And they are participating in the Community Heart and Soul launch in Colonial Beach. That's it. Oh, you're a busy little town.
Thank you. We'll go to Ms. Allison.
So we'll start off with Parks and Rec. We do have a tennis round robin that'll be held at 11 o'clock at Torrey Smith Park this Saturday. If you have any questions, please contact Eileen through Parks and Rec. There's, excuse me, still a applicant or a seat that's available through Parks and Rec. We did receive an applicant, but we would like to keep that for 30 days to see if anybody else is interested before we close that out, and there will be discussions on that at the next Parks and Rec meeting. There will be some additional things that I'll need to talk to the town manager about. A couple of the items are potentially additional cameras, expectations for the bylaws, for their scheduling and stuff like that, for programs, ADA compliance, but I'll talk to the town manager about that directly in our one-on-ones. Planning Commission, still looking for an applicant for that. So if anybody's interested in that, please apply. And other than that, the last couple of weeks is, Dr. Sullivan mentioned, it's been very busy. We've had trunk or treat, town hall, town hill, homecoming parade, the powder puff game, the homecoming game. It's been very busy. And I don't want to steal any limelight, but we do have senior night this Friday night against Westmoreland. Lots of food. Come out, have a good time.
Please tell us again.
I'm sorry. Are you going to tell the story?
Go ahead.
So the homecoming game, the boys went crazy. It was 52-8 against Lancaster. Very, very exciting game. The boys definitely needed that, especially going into the game against Westmoreland. Thank you.
I believe it. I feel a little bad. I said, you're keeping busy tonight. Ms. Clement.
I'd also like to thank the school for letting us be a part of the homecoming parade. That was a lot of fun.
We had a blast.
We had a blast. Okay, next Tuesday, November 8th is Election Day. Voting will be held at the Colonial Beach High School gym between the hours of 6 to 7. Anyone in line at 7 will be allowed to vote, so please come out and cast your vote. And also, Principal Coates would like you to know that the elementary school winter concert is December 8th at 6 o'clock. So mark your calendars. There will be a stocking and tree auction before the performance starting at 5:30 p.m. We now have an elementary school choir, so I bet they're going to be really great. All right, that's it.
Mr. Monkier? Is yours off and turn?
Yeah,
Okay.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the ghost of Halloween still inhibits the place. In an internal memo, the police department commended Sergeant Nate Thompson for his participation with the Oak Grove Baptist Church in their outreach program at Riverwood Apartments. The reason I mention that is had he not escaped, I was going to compliment the chief for this because this is exactly the type of activity that we want to see from our police department and wanted to encourage it.
I echo that, and Mr. Williams and I were both attended that event, and it was just wonderful, and I would love to do it again. Yeah.
Just a couple of things. The audit is in progression at this point, and they're doing their thing the best way they can, I guess. I appreciate all the everybody that made Halloween safe, because it was not a great night to be out, and it was, really dark, and I know that so many people were in place to make it the safety features that they had on it. And lastly, our audit is in progress, and we'll get an update when it is finished. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Oh, and I really did have a good time at Monroe Hall. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I thought
I didn't get to that one.
it was good.
I feel like I've been in a Halloween-a-thon and I'm ready for the next season at this point. Just to echo, and also note Fall Festival, which happened and now seems like a year ago because there were so many other events in the last 2 weeks. But Teach and I showed up at a really nice time. And the golf cart parade afterwards, homecoming, the football game, town hall on Town Hill. I just want to give a major shout out to all our departments and all the staff that came. Lisa was telling kids about career opportunities in finance. I just thought that every department showed up and had their own creative way of showing off what they do. And I thought it was a very, very strong first event in that. So just thank you to the town manager and to all of the staff that helped make that possible. And the trucks looked gorgeous. I know there was a lot of cleaning involved. So I know, but it's nice too, to be able to present that and be appreciated too for it. I think it was an event for that as well. So, Halloween trick or treating. There was the Ghostbuster mobile. Nobody saw that. It's worth mentioning. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty awesome. And a big shout out to the PD who also made Halloween safe and fun and were playing the Ghostbusters theme song from their loudspeakers. And the Columbia Beach Volunteer Rescue Squad is also still working on their building fund, and so they'll have some new announcements hopefully in the coming month. All right. That's all I got. No presentations all right. Citizen input. Is there anybody signed up? All right. Thank you. Old business, Dwight Avenue extension. Is this Chris or India?
We will tag team it.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, members of the public. Indy Adams Jacobs, Town Manager, just giving an update on the VDOT revenue sharing program, the Dwight Avenue extension. Last year, we brought an item for you to move this project forward. And just wanted to give a brief recap at this point. Heather, you go to the next slide, please. A look back, we submitted for this program, which JC has advised me not to call a grant, but we'll go ahead with this revenue sharing program. We submitted this back in July of 2021. The final application, the pre-app was submitted in July of 2021. The final application was submitted in October 1st of 2021. We brought a resolution towards council to endorse the project. And the stipulations that VDOT required at that time. At the time, they were scoping the project to be about $3.2 million for the Dwight Avenue extension. And this is a 50% revenue matching sharing program. Currently, after meeting with VDOT, they are projecting the cost to be at about 3.7, which would bring the town's total for this project at about $1.85 million. So I will now show this diagram, and if you have any questions specifically, Chris can answer any questions that you have specifically about this diagram from VDOT. And we anticipate having formal documents from VDOT in a couple weeks, hopefully by our next regular meeting, to be able to explain more in depth about the next steps in the process.
All right. Chris, you have anything you want to add on that?
Not unless any of you guys have any questions about the way the diagram is represented.
I don't. Anybody have any questions? All right.
Looks like it's supposed to.
Looks straight, like a road. All right. Next up, we'll keep moving forward. The VML Civility Pledge. Councilmember Self Sullivan.
So when we went to the Virginia Municipal League annual meeting, it's actually a national meeting, but it was held in Richmond. So we had an opportunity to go that and interact with the leadership of many towns and counties. I'm sorry, it's a
It's a state.
statewide meeting. It's Virginia municipal, but we had representation from all over the country, speakers and stuff that came and spoke to us.
Yeah.
But the overwhelming theme in that meeting was trying to address, I'm sure if you all watch the news, there's a lot of not so nice rhetoric that goes on everywhere from council levels to state levels to national levels. And throughout this whole meeting, there was a theme of the value of maintaining civility, respect, and solutions with both amongst people that serve on council, with staff, and with residents. And so they were recommending that councils consider adopting a pledge. It's called the Civility Pledge, and it basically reads, the town of Colonial Beach pledges to practice and promote civility within the governing body. The elected officials of the town of Colonial Beach enact this civility pledge to build a stronger and more prosperous community by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of the community. The pledge ensures all communication, both spoken and written, to be open, honest, and transparent, as this is vital for cultivating trust and relationships. This pledge ensures mutual respect to achieve municipal goals, recognizing that patience, tolerance, and civility are imperative to success. This pledge creates opportunities for finding common ground and engaging in civil discussion to seek solutions through active listening and thoughtful participation. And so I had proposed that we put this on the agenda to consider at our next meeting as a resolution or as a pledge that we make as a council.
I was at VML as well, and the keynote speaker on this was phenomenal. And my only recommendation is that we make this a part of our bylaw process in January. That way it sticks with the organization moving forward.
I agree that it should be adopted by the next council, whoever that is, but I feel like we should set a precedent by adopting it as an existing council to set the stage.
Sounds good to me. Anybody else?
You don't want to be civil.
Not dare tread where angels not go. Dumas Malone, in what I consider to be the as yet definitive biography of Mr. Jefferson, pointed out that in Mr. Jefferson's Virginia, in the Virginia I was raised, that there are really only two truly unpardonable sins: lying and meanness of spirit. And as far as I'm concerned, if we are being honest and we're not being mean-spirited, the discourse can be rough and tumble at times, and should. And so I probably will not be supporting this.
Maybe we can edit it to reflect Mr. Jefferson's sentiments.
I think we can be in disagreement without being uncivil or disrespectful. And that's what this is calling for.
I think Tom's point, to be honest with you, is about the fact that we don't want to tamper the concept of having disagreements still.
I don't think it calls for that.
Yeah, I understand. I think he thinks it does. Yeah.
Well, then the simple amendment might be just to conduct ourselves as ladies and gentlemen.
One of the things, and part of the reason maybe I would actually defer this to part of our January process, is because when the speaker who presented this at VML spoke about making it your own, letting the adjectives that define civility or define your council or whatever your agreement is, your pledge is, to let it come from within that group. And I think there's a little more value in going through that kind of process with this, in the sense that then you get the sentiment
of each council member, and there's more buy-in to it instead of it being someone else's words. So maybe I just propose that we do that as a working session together or something to come up with our own version of it. Because I'd rather it be, I think it kind of sets a bad precedent for it to be something that some people are pledging and some people aren't, you know?
Well, I would ask that it be thought about and that we bring it to a vote at the next meeting as to whether we adopt this or whether we don't adopt this. Having served on many, many committees where people are trying to come into an agreement on the exact wording of something, I can imagine this taking a year. Whereas I personally don't have a problem with the existing words. If you have a problem with some of the words, then I would say let's make a proposal to change those words. But I feel like that it's important in this age of politics and the way that national politics seems to seep into local politics to adopt something. And, maybe we can do it individually if we don't want to do it as a council. I'm ready to make the pledge.
Yeah, I think, I guess, is there any other discussion on it from this time? No?
You might want to wait until.
That's what I'm saying.
I know,
Okay.
I know you.
Yeah, I know, you gotta say it in the mic, Vicky. All right, well, is there a consensus to put it on the next agenda or to wait until January? Any comments over here?
I'd wait indefinitely, but that's not here or there.
Okay.
I'd hate to vote on something that will not affect me because I won't be on the council. I mean, I would do it as a citizen. I would prefer my town council to be polite and respectful to each other. So if you want, either way, I'm fine. Whatever you guys decide.
Okay. Vicky says wait. I'm Poland. Wait. I'm gonna wait.
Okay,
All right.
I pledge.
I pledge. I guess one of the things is I don't want to say that just because you didn't take this particular pledge that you wouldn't actually act that way. That you wouldn't act with civility. So I don't want it to infer the opposite as a default, right?
I think we're pretty civil.
We are.
Yes.
All right, next up, resolution 4522, relating to the support of the Virginia America 250-year commission recitals. This is my name on it.
Well, there,
Yeah,
one editorial correction.
I should have waited.
There you go again.
Oh.
So Vicky was interfering with me. Okay. And the, obviously editing the last whereas clause, it's not the board of supervisors, but town council. Okay, you got that.
she fixed it already? Yeah. This is just part of the participation of the Virginia 250 Commission, which is about the anniversary of the state. Yes, to commemorate the 250th anniversary of Virginia's participation in American independence. And I think it opens us up for participation in certain programs that's going to happen in that year. And so I don't know why you had me read into this. I got one email about it. India, would you like to elaborate?
Well, I think at the time we asked for it to be added to the agenda, I think you requested it to be added to the agenda, but Mr. Moncur and I had a conversation about it as well. And I think that in the future, if there are any other items related to this, that Councilmember Moncur, I think, has volunteered his time based on the nature of the subject.
Sounds like you got volunteered, Tom.
I don't normally volunteer for much of anything as an old soldier, but Stratford Hall, you all may not know, received $1 million in the last General Assembly to kind of head this. And obviously, I think regionally Stratford Hall will play a significant role in this because it is the home of the only two brothers who signed the Declaration of Independence. Obviously, there's not much Revolutionary War history in Colonial Beach, but I'm hoping a lot of people will come down to the neighborhood and stay with us.
Mhm. Yeah. I love it. So do we need to adopt this today? Yes, I have a motion and
You can do it the next meeting.
I can do it at the next meeting? Okay, so we'll just do a read-in today, we'll adopt at the next meeting. Any questions on that? Okay. Draft ordinance 735, amendments to town code, chapters 3, 4, and 14. Ms. Say.
Yes.
This is just a read-in, by the way, and we're gonna set the public hearing.
It's just, neither one of these is worth it.
I was gonna say, you can take this one.
Is that, okay, woo, sorry. Okay, this is a continuation of the effort for cleanup, and these are before you tonight for first read to set the public hearing. Again, I'll just reiterate again, you don't have to have a public hearing, but it is recommended and is the course that you have been taking. So the request again is to set a public hearing on chapters 3, 4, and 14 of your Colonial Beach Code of Ordinances. Chapter 3 is animals and fowl. You will see a lot of red recommended in that. Then that is because those code sections replicate or duplicate the state code, and the town does not have animal control. That is a county function, and so they take care of that. So there's no harm in having these in here. They serve no purpose. And after a while, if you're going to leave them in here, they get out of date. They don't have the right state code references. So technically, if you're going to have them in and you want to keep them current, it is a cost to the town because there's a time cost, and of course, time is money in keeping the code sections current. But again, they really serve no purpose. And now that there are many sections that were left, because there are certain things that you do want to make sure that, like your leash law and that sort of thing, you do want to make sure that those things are happening in the town, and just confirm that those are your rules. But otherwise, a lot of unnecessary, in my opinion, but again, if you choose to leave them, you can. But those items were stricken. Dr. Sel Sullivan did give me some language about some other items to do that dealing with animals, but those are really zoning. So you may see animal related matters again, but they would those are over in the zoning ordinances as those come to you in the future. Chapter 4 is automobile graveyards. I don't know that you really have any, but I did go ahead and leave it. It is only 3 sections. It's very short. I cleaned it up a little bit, but if you want to strike that whole thing, again, to my knowledge, you don't have any, but.
I think there are mostly dog-related rules that are in our beaches section too, that are not, you and I
That's
addressed
true.
that yet.
Yeah, that's true. And that one has not come to you yet either. That's exactly right. And then chapter 14, that is about motor vehicles, license fees, and which formerly known as decals here in the town of Colonial Beach, and golf carts and parking. All of that is addressed in chapter 14. Now this chapter contains substantive changes, whereas I consider the other 2 chapters that we just talked about, 3 and 4, not really to be substantive, even though some things have been stricken. But what I mean about substantive amendments to chapter 14, there is a change to
recommended to align your tax year for personal property taxes and the license fee. The reason for that recommendation is because going forward, the goal of your finance department is to bill your license fee with your personal property tax bill. And it's nice if all of that lines up. The other thing that will do is that will open up that window, if you will, so that if folks want to get a little bit of a head start on the season for their golf carts, it will open up the system so they can do that as well. However, we will bring to you a resolution just confirming, it's not in your code, but confirming that your golf carts will still, the enforcement period window will still start at April 1st, just like it does now. So that being the opening of your season, so to speak. So that's the idea behind that. But again, if anyone wants to get a jump start, a head start, by aligning everything perfectly at January 1st, it kind of makes systems all work nicely together.
So when you say enforcement, you're talking about parking,
No, I'm talking about the golf carts.
but what about the golf carts?
So the decal, so if it is February 1st and you still, of next year, and you still have your 22 decal on it, that's fine.
Okay.
Now, if you want to go ahead and buy your 23 decal, you can, but your 22 decal is going to be, the PD has been contacted. They will adopt that position that the enforcement won't start.
But you'll
doing.
still have to have your golf cart inspected and a decal. If you bought one this year, in the new year, you still have to get that inspected,
Correct.
right? Okay.
Correct, yes. So for all intents and purposes, nothing changes in that regard. And then the whole decal, or it's really the license fee. So there are a few additional edits that will be coming your way over and above what you see in front of you, because there are a few places where the word decal is still in there. It needs to be changed to license fee or fee, that sort of thing. So a few additional edits, but it should all line up with what I'm explaining right now. And one thing is, in the past, your license fee, also at that point called decals, but your license fee was used for parking. And the way that really works, and the way we've sort of talked through it, because we really had to sit down and just sort of talk through it. And Lisa, please jump in if I'm wrong on any of this, but that the parking, that is just sort of it's an accommodation, if you will. And what I mean by that is your license fee is imposed or not. That is something that a locality can do or not, but you do in most, I don't know of any localities that don't do that. So everybody imposes a license fee. What that relationship bears to parking is that then, and the way it will work now is that if you pay that license fee, then your license plate will be in the system. And therefore you can park for no charge because you have presumably paid your license fee. Or in my example, you have paid your license fee. The benefit to that, the two are separate and distinct things, but the benefit to using that is that you already have a database of individuals who have paid the license fee and the associated license plate that goes along with that. So because you already have that database, it's nice to be able to utilize that database to enter into your parking system. That just keeps you from having to have an entirely separate database and mechanism for enforcing parking. You could have it separate because they really are separate. It's just a nice way to utilize data that you already have without having to spend the time and money to create something separate. So it is a utilization of your license fee, but the two are not technically interconnected. It's just you're using that same database. So that's kind of how that all feeds together. And again, once you pay your license fees, your license plate will be in the system. If you know of people who move into town, and this particularly would apply after April 1st when parking is not free, make sure you tell them, go in and pay your license fee because it's due. I mean, you have imposed it, so it is due. so that your license plate will be entered into the system. Otherwise, things are, it's a lot of cleanup in here. Again, I'll be bringing to you just the edits that make this cleaner and more consistent with what things I should have caught to begin with and I didn't. Does that make sense?
Any other questions? Tom and I met with Vivian already and went through it line by line, so I'm not gonna rehash what we already did.
Well, I trust the town manager, somebody will be putting out a simple explanation for this to the public, because I'm sure there'll be rampant confusion unless we do.
She's writing a note, I think. Okay. All right, as there's no more discussion, let's set the public hearing at the next regular meeting. Do I have a motion for that? Set the public hearing? Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on setting the public hearing? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. All right. It's time. I motion to go into closed meeting that the town council of the town of Colonial Beach of Virginia convene and closed meeting for the following purpose and to discuss the following subjects, all of which are exempt by Virginia law from public meeting requirements as indicated, namely pursuant to Virginia Code 2.23711A7 for consultation with legal counsel pertaining to actual or probable litigation, where such consultation in open meeting would adversely affect the negotiating or litigating posture of the public body pertaining to a matter now pending in Westmoreland County Circuit Court. I made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, shouldn't take long.
I so certify.
I so certify.
I so certify, I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Meeting adjourned, 6:56
the
PM.
truly good news is I will be in Ireland next Tuesday and not here.
But please vote still, and you can vote early, and you can vote now. Oh, until Saturday. Wait, through Saturday or until?